Shalom friends, welcome back to Learning the Hebrew Alef-Bet video tutorials. In this video we are in tutorial number 12 and we're going to be looking at some more vowel marks. But before we get started, let me just correct an error I made in the last video. We were talking about the final kaf. This would be the handwriting script version, and the block script would look something like this. And I mentioned these two dots up here are really just the silent vowel marker, and technically that is the correct term for them, but I had made the mistake and had in a few of the letters we were looking at, or the words we were looking at in the last video, and called them a dagesh. The dagesh is just a single dot, and there are a couple different types of the dagesh, but the dagesh is not a vowel marker, so I made that mistake and I wanted to clarify that. You'll learn more about the dagesh and the different types of them and the grammatical rules behind them later on. In this video we're going to pick up, primarily we're going to be looking at a new vowel marker here that is a single dot that will appear beneath the letter, and it is typically referred to as the hidik. It will add the I, or really more like an IH, to our pronunciation, kind of like the word tick, brick, sick, something like that. When it is used in conjunction with a yud, so that's called the hidik yud. If it is at the beginning of a word, like Yisrael or Yerushalayim, it will have a kind of the ye, like a hard E beginning with a Y. If it appears in the middle of a word, it'll be just the E, or kind of like the hard E by itself. Another thing is, you're going to see this quite often too, is the yud will appear in conjunction with another vowel marker from the previous letter. We've already started seeing some of this. It could be a chamatz, it could be I think you could do patah, a tseri, what else would there be? The hidik, possibly all of them. But what ends up happening is, and the yud itself will have no vowel marker beneath it. It is really acting in conjunction with these vowel markers as the vowel marker itself. So that kind of breaks that convention we had been following, where we had always seen like a consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, so on and so forth. This would look like you would see a consonant, vowel, a consonant here, vowel here, and then another consonant preceded by another consonant, kind of breaking that sort of cycle. And it might be, there's reasons why some of these vowels come from they're historical vowels that come from the ancient Hebrew, and I guess you could think of it as either way. But for these videos, I'm going to just try to, when we see that yud appear by itself, it's going to pick up the vowel marker. It's acting in conjunction with the previous vowel marker as the single vowel marker itself. That's the best way I could kind of explain it. And later on, when you learn the formal grammatical rules, you can, the explanations will be provided. So the first word we're looking here is ivrit, and I guess I'm going to write it down below in Hebrew. But ivrit in Hebrew means Hebrew. This is how you would say Hebrew. And it will begin with an ayin, a hidik beneath it. You'll have a vet, shva, silent shva, resh. It'll have the hidik beneath it. Then you're going to see the yud, and then the tav. So see how the hidik and the yud will act in conjunction to create that I, ivrit vocalization or vowel in this word. Yerushalayim, well, in English we typically refer to this as Jerusalem. And here we see Yerushalayim will start out with the yud, the hidik yud, resh, u vowel mark, the sheen. I'm going to put a patah there, a lamed, and here you would typically see like something like a, I'm going to put a seri there, and then a yud, and then a final mem. So this is very common as well. This ayim, that is what that is. When you see this part of uh, the word is a very common ending in many Hebrew words. So it kind of it's very quick though. It's Yerushalayim. You don't really. It's almost like it constitutes a separate vowel itself. Um, Israel is how you would say Israel. Oops. And here again, it's going to begin with the Hidik Yud. We already saw this, but I didn't because we hadn't talked about this in the previous video, but because we hadn't learned this vowel marker yet, I didn't put it in there. But this is the correct way of spelling this. Silent Shva, Resh, I think it's Bata, the Alef, the Tseri, and then Lamed. Yisrael. Down below here is just some of the names for God. We talked about earlier Elohim, new. When you put new on the end of a word, it makes it it gives it the, it's like a pronoun, our. So Elohe, this comes from Elohim, which is typically translated to God. And this really means our God. We hear this in a lot of prayers. And I believe the way we would, well, I'm going to spell it. I don't know if this is the correct way, but we'll put a seri down below. Lamed. You're going to have the reduced column vav to get the lo. We'll have a he, seri, and this in this one it'll work in here again in conjunction with that yud, and then the nu, Elohim, and that's how you would say spell the equivalent of our God in Hebrew. El Shaddai really means God Almighty, I believe. That's typically where we would translate to in English, something like that. And here, notice El Shaddai over here, die, and then Adonai. These are common endings as well. So I believe if I'm spelling this right, it would be Alef, Seri, Lamed. You typically have you're going to have what's I forget the name for it. Starts with an M, I believe. We'll cover this a little bit later. So it's you're going to just kind of put two words together. The Sheen, I'll put a Patah. Dalet, it'll have I'm going to put like a Patah down there to kind of get that Ayin, El Shaddai. We'll see this again. Very common, another common ending in Hebrew. Whether or not I got the actual vowel marks correct. Adonai, a lot of times when this is what's used, well, this and Hashem, and they come across the Yud He Vav He, the holy name for God, they'll typically replace it with by saying Adonai or Hashem. So let's just use a Patah here, and here again I don't really know that I'm spelling this correctly, but for structural purposes it'll be okay. Yeah, I know it has a reduced colon Vav, and actually that's not supposed to be beneath there. The noon, and then we'll put a Patah there as well, and finally the Yud. Here again, I probably got some of those vowel markers mixed up, but I just wanted to show you particularly the Yud and how it will work in conjunction with the previous vowel marker to make kind of like a vowel of its own. Exercise 4. These are infinitives or verbs, the infinitive form. Let me go back to writing the name down below. Lishmoa means to hear, and probably many of you heard of the Shema. Hear, O Israel, Lord our God is one Lord. This is where that verb would come from. When you put a lamed in front of your verbs, typically it's in its infinitive state. So you'd have a lamed, a hidik beneath there, sheen, we'll have a silent schwa, the mem, and the cholim vav, although kind of reduced there. And this will end with an ayin, but the ayin is going to have a, well, in this case, the way I've got it spelled out, it would be a chamatz. I believe that's right. It could be a patapa. But notice we're seeing something new. So let me go to the next one as well, and we'll come back and explain this. Lishloach. Lishloach is to send. You want to send a letter. Lamed, hit beneath it. Sheen, silent schwa. Lamed. It'll have the reduced cholim vav, and then it's going to end with a chet, with the chet. Let me write that a little bit better. I was thinking that this is going to be a patah. I'll check on this as I'm talking. But you see, with lishloach and lishmoa, the final word, or the final letter, has a vowel marker beneath it that is coming before it. So this is common in your guttural letters. This over here was supposed to be just a patah. This so like the ayin, chet, and possibly some others. The last letter, if you see, in some cases, the last letter, the vowel marker beneath it will come before it. Like if we followed along with the tradition we've been following so far, where it's consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, consonant, vowel, that sort of thing, we might say lish, lo, cha, which would be the wrong way of pronouncing this. Here at the end, it switches up, and the vowel marker will come before it, and you get this lishloach or lishmoa. If it doesn't make sense right now, later on it will. I wanted to introduce it to you so you get used to seeing that. Lul mode is going to be a lamed, hidik yud beneath it, another lamed, silent shva, mem, reduced cholim vav, and then a dalet, and this is to study or to learn. The exercise 5, we have some more words here we're going to use in a sentence down below. But ani in Hebrew is for the pronoun meaning I am, or I did this, or I did that. So ani would be an alef, a nun, and then the yud. I believe this is a patah, and then the hidik beneath the nun, and ani. So if I were to say ani David, that would be saying I am David. So the present form of the verb to be is always implied, so you don't say it. You just ani David, and someone will say no, or actually, let me go ahead and show you the next word, and it's anglit. This means English. So if I were to say ani anglit, that would mean I am English. Or ani Americana, I'm American, or I believe that is right. I want to see something really quick. Yeah, that gives a patah. So what we're going to have is an alef, patah down below, nun, silent shva, gimel, silent shva, lamed, hidik, and then the yud, and then that's going to end with a tav, anglit. Yakol is we're going to have a yud, pta, chaf. I'm going to put a cholim vav there, and yachol, and typically that means it's a verb like can, but for the masculine version, like if I were to say ani yachol, means I can. Liktov is Lamed, Hidik beneath it. Let me think here. I think that's going to be a Chaf and silent Shva, Tav. I'm reducing that right now. The Cholim Vav to the single dot, and then the Vet and Liktov, and that means to write. Now we're gonna, in the purpose of showing that, so to follow along with the sentence down below, which says I can read and write Hebrew and English. I just wanted to double check on, make sure, yeah. So see how in some cases you'll see in you'll see the Chol Vav reduce, and then in other cases right here you won't. And there's an explanation for that, which you'll learn a little bit later. Don't really need to get I guess too caught up in it right now, but we want to say, we know enough now we ought to be able to say some simple sentences. I can speak and write Hebrew and English. We would say ani, which we've already just learned, ani, which means I. Yako, well, this is how for a masculine. Yachol. It'd have a different it'd have a different ending if it was a female. Speak, which we're going to use the definitive of the ledaber. The bar. I don't remember the actual vowel markers down below, so I was using Kamatsu Patam. But ledabar means to speak, or you might ledaber to speak or say, and yeah, we'll stick with that. And then we're going to say ooh. Ooh is going to be the conjunct and diktov, and this is just and write. So we're saying I can read and write, and then let me finish this down below. Ivrit. And in this context, it would be a vav on Anglit. So, אני יכול לדבר ולכתוב, I'm sorry. אני יכול לדבר, I can't, I may be wrong on this, the infinitive of לדבר. I think that's לדבר, vet. Could be but either way, אני יכול לדבר ולכתוב עברית ואנגלית. And that would mean I can speak and write Hebrew and English, which I guess is kind of ironic. It sounds like I'm having a hard time doing both at the moment, right? With the mistakes, but that is the Yud. Well, actually the Hidik, and then more about the Yud in conjunction with the Hidik, as well as any of the other vowel markers. So we're just about done with all the vowel markers. Just one more. We're going to pick it up in the next video. So I will see you in that video.